Hi, this is Steve Baranowski, your guitar consultant. And today we're going to do really super elementary strumming, like the very beginning. So um, this is where it all starts. And if it seems simple, it is, but simple is not always simple for everybody. What do you need to know to get started? Um, it'd be great if you knew an E minor chord. Some other chords would be nice too, but really, if you know an E minor chord, that's what we need to get going. You need a guitar, and a guitar pick. We're going to do pick strumming, no fingy stuff today. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about sitting just a little tiny bit. What I recommend people to do is to put the guitar on their left leg and then elevate it very slightly, either by pointing the toe, putting on something like a yoga block or a stack of books or like a big fat cat who doesn't move a lot. You know, any one of those things would be great. You just kind of put your foot up there a little bit. You can have it in other positions, but I find this position solves the most problems and it's beneficial for when you stand and play. Okay, the guitar should be resting against your body. Okay, so we want to make sure your guitar is in tune, and let's talk about that guitar pick, okay? So we want to have a guitar pick. What I recommend for people to get started is a standard size guitar pick shaped guitar pick. I would recommend to people, this is a heavy pick, but I'd recommend mediums. Okay, so some guitar picks will say mediums, others say like 0.60 to 0.75, that kind of range. We want some flexibility to it, but we don't want it to feel floppy. Okay, heavy, if they're too heavy, they're going to feel clunky. If they're too floppy, we have a hard time developing our touch. Now let's talk about how to hold that dang thing because that could really go wrong. Okay, so how you hold the guitar pick is as follows. And I know there are variations on this, but I think this works. I'm going to explain why I think this works. What you're going to do is you're going to curve your fingers in like so. Hold your hand as if you were holding an egg or perhaps a hamster. And you are going to take the side of your index finger, the last phalange, and place the pick on the last phalange of your finger like so. Then you close your thumb on top of it. Okay, you want to hold it in such a way, I'm going to adjust this a little bit here, that if your arm is parallel to the floor, your pick will point straight down. Okay, why do we want this? It won't be the most natural thing in the world. You're going to want to hold your pick something like this, okay, but that's not so great. Why do we want to hold our pick like that? Because we want, when we point our pick at the guitar strings, and our body will make sure that we do, okay, that we want our wrist to be neutral. We want a neutral, relaxed wrist. So if I point my pick at the guitar strings with this grip, as you can see, my wrist isn't really doing anything. If I hold my pick like so, or some horrendous variation of that, my wrist is going to have to bow out in order to make that work. That looks weird, it feels weird, it can have long-term problems, and there's just techniques it can't do. Okay, so we're going to hold the pick by about the back 50% of it, and we're going to have a nice light grasp so the pick can play in your fingers. Okay, I like to say that I should be able to reach over, you know, while you're strumming, and if I was fast enough, I could snatch the pick right from your fingers without creating a tug of war. Okay, so let's talk about the actual strum itself. I'm going to make an E minor, just saying when you make your E, could you strum on open strings? Sure, it's just not that musical of an experience. We want this to feel like you're actually doing something musical. When you make your E minor, and this is, I'm not going to bother showing it here, I'm sure you can find it someplace. Make sure your high E is definitely open. A lot of times people block that high note, okay? And if that note is blocked, there will be repercussions because your right hand, your system, will be listening for more sound than it's getting. It wants to hear the full chord but doesn't quite hear the full chord. The right hand's going to blame itself for that and it's going to start hitting harder, okay? And things will get kind of clunky. Okay, so we're going to talk about the strum itself. So the strum is a composite motion between elbow and wrist. We're going to rest our elbow on top of the guitar. Now, an acoustic and certain electrics, you have a nice, you know, big round place to place it. You place your elbow right on the top, okay? Just like you're putting your arm on a counter or something like that. With electrics, you may have to hit more in the mid arm, okay? But it's still roughly the same idea, okay? The we're going to start with the downstroke, okay, the plain downstroke, and I call this the level one. Okay, I made up a leveling system about 8 million years ago, and I still hold on to it because it never stopped working. Okay, so with level one, we're going to do the downstroke, and the downstroke again is at part. We're going to start with our pick a few inches, maybe about 4 or 5 inches above the plane of the strings, and as we go down, we're going to go through the strings, and we'll also notice that our wrist is also cocked a little tiny bit up. This will release as we drop. Now, this is not done with a controlled, movement. This is done by basically falling. We want our wrist to relax and literally flex as we play. Okay, so we don't want to hold our wrist steady, and we don't want to twist, yaw, pitch, do odd things with our wrist. A lot of times, people either hold their wrist too tight because they're a little stiff, they have to relax a little bit, or when I tell them to move the wrist, they start doing odd things with it, and that's not great either. We just want to let the pick fall. I like to say, think of it as a handshake, a non-aggressive handshake, or maybe you have a stick, like a baton, and you're gently striking someone on the head. Not to render them unconscious, but just to say, Dave, stop eating my cookies, that kind of thing. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Whatever gets you through whatever metaphor gets you through. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to try doing it just one time. Just once. We're not going to start sawing away at it. We're going to fall through. Okay. Now, as we do this motion, we're going to reach for 3 things simultaneously. Okay. First term, light. We're going to do it lightly. On a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is a miss and 10 is you Pete Townsending your guitar, we're going to be about a 3 or a 4. Okay. Why? Why do we want to be so light? 1, it's going to make everything easy, relaxed. It's going to sound good. We'll have plenty of room to go up for when we do want accented sounds, louder sounds, and so think like indoor voice, okay? Not whisper, not a whisper, but indoor voice, about the volume I'm speaking right now. Okay, so the light. That lightness is going to be caused partially by your pick flexing, the flexing within inside the pick itself, your wrist being relaxed, your elbow being relaxed, and the pick playing in your fingers. All of these things create shock absorbers to keep it light. The second term we're looking for is quick. Now, that doesn't mean we're strumming fast like that. It means that each individual motion is quick. I like to think brushing a bee off your leg. There's a bee on your leg. You don't want them to be around anymore. Go, okay? Quick and light. Heavy, you can kill the bee or make him sting you. Too slow, the bee might sting you. Quick and light, send that bee into the next county before he even knows what happened. Okay. The third term is blended. We want the guitar to not sound like a series of strings playing in sequence, though technically they are. We want it to sound like a bell, and the bell has an E minor attached to it. Okay, so light, quick, and blended. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one stroke at a time. First, fall through the strings. Let gravity take you. Okay? It's okay if you get a few glancing blows. Maybe you might hit the low strings, skip the high strings, or vice versa. It's okay. Your body will learn. Again, notice the flexing on the way down. Okay, now as you do this, make sure that in the beginning you give yourself enough time to sort of process that. In other words, don't play faster than you can track with your body and your mind. Okay, light, quick, blended. After you feel like you're kind of getting the hang of it, you might start going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be important as this becomes more elaborate and becomes more, full-fledged strumming. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about what if you're stiff? What if you're rigid? What if a lot of people try too hard. They think too much about this. Okay, so I'm going to give you an activity I'd like everyone to try who's actually starting on this. And, okay, you're going to set a timer and you're going to do this for 5 minutes straight. Okay, no variation, no nothing. You're just going to do that strum for 5 minutes straight. Okay, you are going to lose your marbles. Okay, and that is exactly the point. Okay, within 30 seconds, a minute and a half, you will not be able to really pay attention to this anymore. There's not enough to pay attention to. And for over concentrating types, that's exactly what you want. You actually want to get to the point where your concentration sort of gives up and walks off. Then what happens? Your body, who has been paying attention to all this, will actually pick up the slack and actually take the job away from you. Okay, you may find yourself going through a lot of emotions and weirdly, like a lot of times when you open up a new technical front, you might become upset briefly or angry or a little afraid. That's okay. Just keep going. All that stuff kind of works itself out. Relax, relax, relax. Let your body take it. The biggest mistake that people make when they're strumming is not that they do it wrong, is they just don't do it enough. You know, they strum correctly for 12 seconds and they think they have it. Okay? Most songs are 3 minutes and 30 seconds or so, and we want to be able to strum that long without any effort. Okay. One quick thing, and this is going to be the weird thing I'm going to say today, is one very common problem, and it shows up with a lot of people, probably a majority of them, is as they strum, their pick goes from this, like, you know, straight down position to kind of like that. See how it kind of tips out there a little bit? Okay, and then that means that their wrist, to adjust for that, winds up having to do this kind of bowed out thing I'm showing you. And that's really no good. We really don't want that. Now you might say, well, you told me to hold the pick light. Now the pick's drifting around in my fingers. What do I do about that? You know, I can hold the pick tighter, but that's not what you said. Yeah, if you hold the pick tighter, it's going to get hard and clunky. That's no good. We want to hold the pick light. So what we're going to do is we are going to talk to our hand. Believe me, this works. Okay, I've done this with probably a few hundred people. It always works. And if it doesn't work, it's because the person didn't actually do it. Okay? So, quick thing about the hand. The hand is brilliantly, brilliantly good at its job. It does so many things for you all day long. It picks up your coffee cup and it doesn't drop it. It picks up your fork and puts food in your mouth, not stabbing your mouth. Okay? It writes, it types, it opens doors. It does dozens and dozens of highly complex activities all the time. Holding a pick like this is really in its wheelhouse, and it's below our paid grade as the thinking person to actually, it's below our pay grade to track it. We've got things to do. So what we do is we talk to our hand, and you talk to it like a rather dumb employee. Remember, it's a talented employee, but he's not too smart. Or a child, okay? And you say to it, hey, hand. And it will go, oh my God, you're talking to me. It turns out I speak English. Yeah, you do. It's pretty wild, right? I want you to hold my pick like this while I'm strumming. It says, seeming to know the answer. If you say, you start to turn out like that, I want you to make little finger motions. You know how to do them. I don't have to tell you, to bring it back to this position. Okay? This is your job. This is what I want. And it'll go, okay, boss. All right? Don't say what you don't want. The body doesn't understand a negative. Okay? If you do this, chances are about 95% that this will straighten itself out because you're simply giving a clear command to the body of what you want. And it's something the body is totally capable of giving you. If it wasn't capable of giving you that, yes, we'd be working hard at it. You might think, does this work on other things? It might. I've seen it work miracles. Or it might not. It depends on, you know, what it's capable of. What the body is capable of. But at least in those cases where it can't, you're letting the body know what you want to do. Okay, now, so 5 minutes of just, we'll do E minor. Keep it light. Keep it quick, keep it brisk, make blended, and this is so fundamental to get right, okay? So what about upstrokes, say you, okay? Fair question. It's the next video. Wow, 15 minutes to show me how to do a down strum. there's what I call the invisible 80%, and I really, really like to show the invisible 80%. You saw a lot of it today. I hope this was helpful. Hope this gets you started. See you in my next video on the upstroke. You probably want it. Talk to you later. Bye bye.